Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of Almighty Allah, the entirely merciful and the specially merciful. Dear viewers across the planet, I greet you with the greeting of peace. This greeting is so valuable that it had been used by all the messengers of Allah. So we are so lucky to still using it now until now. So we are rewarded for that. So valuable because it talks about peace. And as-salam is one of the attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So it's something that really adds comfort and peace of mind to all of us. So assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. May peace be unto all of you. Ameen, ameen. Welcome to this episode. Welcome to the month of Ramadan. This month we celebrated by this series that is titled, all of them, all the episodes are titled A Way to Paradise. Something so interesting because the hope, the ultimate goal of every Muslim is to be in paradise. So now we are trying to call this and try to connect these episodes with the month of Ramadan, perhaps the most valuable month for the life of Muslims. Every year we are blessed to have this month, and some people are not really or do not really give it the care that is due for it. A lot of people miss the opportunity of getting a lot of rewards from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this great month, the month of blessed or intensive blessings and intensive rewards from Almighty Allah. In this month, as we know that إِنَّا أَنزَلْنَاهُ فِي لَيْلَةِ الْقَدْرِ, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us that the Holy Quran was sent down to the sky as a whole in the month of Ramadan. So you see, Quran and Ramadan, as you notice, the ending of them, they rhyme. So, and you can see the connection between the two of them. So a lot of people take advantage of this month to try to memorize as much as they can in the month of Ramadan. You may succeed to finish a lot of the parts of the Quran by memorizing them, or you cannot succeed in all of them, but at least give it a serious try. And I mean by serious, I mean consistent trials. That is, you allocate some time every day for the memorization. One of the good times, of course, after Salat Subh, you allocate some hours because you are rewarded from both ways. You are rewarded for sitting down after Salat Subh until the time of Salat al-Ishraq, al-Shuruq, and this is almost approximately an hour. You can allocate half of it, or you can allocate all of it for the memorization, or at least for the recitation of some parts of the Quran. As we mentioned in earlier episodes, that some of the companions used to finish reciting or reading the entire Quran or reviewing the entire Quran in 3 days. That means they allocate a lot of time for this purpose, for this task. It is worthy. So now you can use part of this time, instead of just reading and reciting, you can allocate it for memorization, because most of us feel very comfortable because your mind and your brain are not busy with these worldly matters. You're still got up from early from your sleep and fresh, and you are ready to receive. Your mind is ready to receive, and the best thing to receive is the Holy Quran, the word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In addition to this, we should be very happy because we had been promised by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that this Quran is easy. is easy to memorize, is easy to spell it out, is easy to understand. And this had been said to us and had been promised to us by Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Try to imagine the one who made the Quran for humanity, for all humans, is telling us this fact. So use it and abuse it. Use it in a sense that try to get this confidence in your heart and trust from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that it is easy to read, it is easy to memorize, it's easy to understand. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said it very clearly and openly in chapter called Al-Qamar, Surah Al-Qamar, chapter number 54. He said it in ayah number 17, and he repeated it in ayah number 22, and he repeated it again, the same ayah, in ayah number 32, and finally he said it in ayah number 40. So 4 times in one chapter Allah is emphasizing this meaning. And we know in every language, in all languages, once you repeat the same statement, you are emphasizing it. So Allah Himself is the one who sent down the Quran to us as humans. He is the same one who is emphasizing this meaning in it. So that's why we become so happy to find that this had been emphasized for us to guarantee. So this is not a saying or a promise of a human, rather it is the Lord of humans. The Lord of all humans is emphasizing this meaning for us. It's not the result of research. A research, of course, would agree with that, but it is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us. Once we develop this trust with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we'll find it really working very well on our hearts. Therefore, when we trust Allah, we just use the time and the tools that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala provided us with. For example, we use our ears well, we become very receptive, we use our eyes, we focus with our hearts, so it becomes easier for us to memorize the entire Quran. We can give it a try. Some people tried it many times. We know that. It may not be easy for some people because they are busy with other things, but it is doable. And Allah Himself emphasized this beautiful meaning for all of us. So we have the hope, we have the tools. We need to save our time, allocate some time, good times, and the good times of the day, for example. As long as you keep going to the mosque, you will find the time available for you. The best time would be the time after Salat Subh, or even before Salat Subh, if you have the opportunity to go earlier than that. So if you spend 30 minutes and make it consistent every day during the months of Ramadan, and if possible, you extend it after the month of Ramadan, and keep this time only for the memorization of the Quran, depending on your daily schedule. Of course, you may be busy, so this may not suit you. So either you shorten the time or you change the time, and you have any time you can go. For example, some people prefer to do it before Salat al-Asr or after Salat al-Asr. It's your choice. It's always you may know what is the best time for you and the people around you. For example, the people who teach you the Quran or your parents can advise you. You take the advice seriously and you start applying it in your time. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves to see humans are consistent in doing the good deeds, even if these good deeds are small and short. So if you decide that you are going to, for example, memorize 10 ayat, as the companions of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to say that we used not to exceed 10 ayat. Until we memorize them, we know the meaning of them, and we implement them in our lives. And this small portion, a small increment in our life that you do it every day, and it becomes consistent and it becomes part of your life. And therefore, we know that some companions tried to memorize the Quran. Some of them even memorized Surah Al-Baqarah in 10 years. They may be so busy and you may be like them, but at least give it a try, and even a serious try. One important benefit of doing this, it keeps you busy with the book of Allah instead of keeping your mind busy with the devil traps. Because if you don't keep yourself busy with something very important, something very unique like the Quran, like the words of Allah, your mind may be busy doing something else, watching soccer games or basketball games on the TV, or something even worse than this. Some people keep themselves busy even in Ramadan. The shaitan still holds its traps for them. So some people may fall into these traps. So something that would help all of us to be away from these traps of Satan is by keeping ourselves busy with the most valuable book in the entire planet. Is the book of Allah, is the Holy Quran. So let's give it a try, and all the time remember that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala promised us that He made the Quran easy for us. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Remember, it's ayah number 17 in chapter 54. وَلَقَدْ يَسَّرْنَا الْقُرْآنَ لِلذِّكْرِ فَهَلْ مِن مُدَّكِرٍ. Indeed, this is the royal we. Allah is emphasizing this meaning. And Allah is the one who is saying that about Himself, to be sure that it is really easy. It is really easy for us. He said that we made the Quran easy to remember, easy to understand, easy to read. فَهَلْ مِن مُدَّكِرٍ. Is there anyone who is ready to remember it, to memorize it, to recite it 4 times in one chapter? This emphasis is so unique that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala repeated it for us such amount of times, so to be sure. And the smart ones would take it not theoretically. Yes, you trust it, but you need to work on it. You need to put it into practice and to put it into test and say, I myself have tested it. And I have tried earlier many times, but when I came to this ayah, when I came to this statement in the Quran, and I found that Allah is emphasizing it 4 times, I realized that there is something wrong with me. So I tried again, I tried another approach, I asked for help, I got the advice from the people who are expert, and they used to give me some tips. For example, I changed my strategy from memorizing 10 ayat every day to 5 ayat every day. Even if you cannot do 5, you can do 2 or 3 ayat, you can do 1 ayah, you can do 2 ayat. It depends on but the more you try, the better for you. You know that in any competition in the world, people try, and every time, if they did today, let's say 5 days running, so the following day or the first week, they keep the 5 minutes a day. And the next week, they move to 6 minutes a day for an entire week. And then the week after, they go to 7 minutes, and so on and so forth. This is a normal technique that's known across the globe. You can use it, or better use the strategies that the memorizers of the Quran themselves have used throughout their lives. So you get these practical tips from them and you try to apply them in your life. And this is something that has never happened or had been repeated in another chapter of the Quran, that this beautiful meaning, particular meaning of memorization, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made the Quran easy, whether it's recitation or memorization or understanding. But you become very sure that it will happen. If not today, it will happen tomorrow or next week. And for example, some people use this strategy after they memorize 10 ayat. They start using a different technique by writing it and rewriting it to reinforce the memorization, to reinforce the correct and the accurate recitation. So you can use these techniques that had been said to us by the professors or by the experts in this field, and in this way it will happen. There are many hundreds of strategies that had been used by previous people, by our colleagues, by our friends, by our parents. Ask your parents, you will find some people in your family, some people in your peer group who has tried some of these techniques and they worked for them. Again, we do thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for guiding us to this fact, for giving us these guidelines, and this is one of them. وَلَقَدْ يَسَّرْنَا الْقُرْآنَ لِلذِّكْرِ فَهَلْ مِن مُدَّكِرٍ. What is left is our implementation. We put these statements and these promises of Allah into test, and we start practicing it, and hopefully inshallah they will succeed. Particularly take the advantage of the months of Ramadan, when our souls are more receptive and our hearts are ready to get more and more from the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.